So here we have a pre-owned 2017 BMW 540i. This one comes in the xDrive, so we get all-wheel drive capability. Glacier silver metallic is the paint, and then we have black leather interior. The powertrain consists of that bigger 3-liter inline turbocharged 6-cylinder engine that's mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission. 74,004 miles on this one in particular. LED headlamps, LED daytime running lights, and LED fog lights, and a nice sophisticated front fascia on this generation of 5 Series. It's really my favorite. Down here to the wheels, these are 19-inch alloy. We get passive keyless entry, all 4 doors. And to the door panel here, power door lock controls, memory seat functions. We get power with power folding side mirrors that have blind spot monitors in them. And then one-touch up and down windows on all 4 doors. Rear window lock is there. Headlamp controls, hood release, power tilt telescoping steering wheel. And here we have our power driver seat. So we get power bolsters, 4-way power lumbar support, and then we have the manual thigh support there. But a really nice seat. Big thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this car today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers will find you get to the best price on this or whatever pre-owned vehicle you might be interested in. But having the seat up front adjusted for someone of my size, being 6'3" with longer legs, sitting behind myself, really good space for a car like this. Again, being 6'3" back here. Headroom is good because the roof does, you can see we have the sunroof there, but it does curve back up as we go towards the back. So just a really smart design, I think. Seat back pockets are on both sides. We do get the 3-stage heated outboard seats for the back, so I'm assuming this has some sort of cold weather package or whatever from BMW. Unfortunately, I don't have the window sticker, so I can't tell you all the different packages that are on here. But 2 12 volts are back here. Bottle holders right here in the middle. And that seat folds back in there. I love that we get the nice premium lighting in the back. And the grab handle here, we could probably hang a shirt or a pair of pants. It's a thin opening though, so I try and go with a metal hanger if I could. Child locks are right here, so you can unlock and lock there. And to the back end, nice tail lamps, dual exhaust, plenty of trunk space here, side pocket there, and then a netted pocket on this side. First aid kit, it looks like, and then 12 volt up in there. And I like how this one was tinted out. Very tasteful in my opinion. Fuel cap is there. Takes premium. And then you do have the top tethers up top here, and then your lower latch anchors with covers there. And one thing I did forget is to pull the latches to lower the seat. So those are right there. So you can fold these flat if you want to. So you'll have either a spare or an inflator kit there. It's just hard to do with one hand. I'll need some sort of tool, like a screwdriver or something. But fold that down. Again, that'll fold flat. Run longer objects if you want. And pretty easy to lock it back into place. Now to the front passenger seat. Same adjustability as the driver's side, surprisingly. So power bolsters, 4-way power lumbar support, power seat back, seat bottom, and the manual thigh support there. Lockable glove compartment. The owner's manuals are still in this one. And this one I think is like $21,500 for the price, so not bad in my opinion. But mostly covered up is that 3-liter inline 6 that's turbocharged. Now we're gonna check out the turn signals real quick. Some nice LED turn signals in the tail lights, side mirrors, and then the front there. Well, let's go ahead and hop in the driver's seat now. Nice leather wrapped steering wheel, heat right here at the bottom, and you'll get an indication in the gauge cluster when it's on or off. There's the horn. Now to the radio here, this is touchscreen, so navigation system. It's an LED screen, so that's why it's flashing like that. It's not actually doing that in person, but nav is here. For the audio, we do get AM, and then we also have FM, XM. There's a DVD drive here, which is great, then Bluetooth audio, and then a USB drive as well. So all that is pretty self-explanatory. You can go to this menu and kind of see everything. Those fuel economy numbers are impressive. But vehicle settings, the iDrive settings, all that's in here. So if you go to the vehicle settings, plenty to fool with. And then if you go to the iDrive settings, change units of measurement here. And then your language is right in here. So like with most BMW radios, it can be a bit overwhelming when you first take a look at it, but it's really not that tough to deal with. It's just a lot there. Hazards are here. Intelligent safety, you can turn it on, set the individual, or turn it off. And then your presets and whatnot are here. And just all the things that come with the CD drive, the eject button, change your mode for your audio sources. Now backup cameras there. You do have the guidelines that follow you as you turn the steering wheel. And then your self-parking cameras and all that, you can turn so much on or off. And then you even have settings for that too. Now down here we have our dual zone climate controls, automatic. You can adjust the fan direction or the fan speed on either side of the other. So really like that, because in most dual zone climate control ACs, and I've said this before about BMWs, you have to either pick a side for climate, or I should say pick a direction. So you can't have it on the feet for the passenger and then the top for the driver. It has to be one or the other. Then you just set it to auto. But here you can configure it just the way you want. So if I want it to be all three zones here and only your feet here, you can do that, and then change the temperature as well. So really adjustable. 3-stage heated seats for the front, auto mode for either side, and that's another cool thing. You could set it for auto here and then have the auto off over there. Wireless charging pad, you can stow all that. USB-A port in there, 2 bottle holders, a 12-volt. And then over here, you can use the mouse to go through the radio if you so choose. And then you have shortcuts for the map, the nav system, and all that. Now for the shifter, grab this lever, pull down for drive. You come over here to manually shift. You also have the paddle shifters behind the steering wheel. And you can see what gear you're in that bottom right-hand corner. But pull up for neutral, then hit the button, pull all the way up for reverse, press P for park. Electronic parking brake, pull up to engage, hit the brake, press down to disengage, automatic brake hold, parking sensors, and then your camera here. Over here you have all your drive modes, so hit one or the other, turn that camera off. So if I hit sport, I can pull up the drive modes and have it either in standard sport, an individual mode that's set for me, or have it in sport plus. Comfort, you just have that, and then eco, you have standard or individual for the Eco Pro. And then your traction control button's right there. Center console cubby space, you do get a USB-A and a 12-volt. And then a power sunshade, as well as a one-touch sliding roof there. Crazy it goes back that far. There's a view of the back seat from up here. And the sunroof button and sunshade button is there. Lights there. Vanity mirror here. And then back to the steering wheel itself. Left side stock, blinkers, high beams. And then auto high beams can be toggled there. And then your bottom part of the gauge cluster, whether you want to see fuel economy, average MPGs, or your miles, you can see that there. And then you have automatic wipers, so one time off, auto, low, high, and the auto sensitivity can be turned up here. And I like that it actually tells you when the autos are on with that nice light being on there. Pull up for the front fluid. If you look closely, heads up displays there. And then cruise control can be turned on or off. Resume or cancel, set the speed. And then this mode button goes through the audio sources, volume, and then voice recognition, Bluetooth. And you can actually go through the presets depending on what band you're in here, and it'll show you where you are if you look closely in that gauge, in that heads-up display there. Another big plus is the ambient lighting in here is super, super bright. So you can see that there on the back, and you can also see it up front here too. So just giant light bar that looks like goes all the way through the entire car. So really like that. Auto stop toggles here, push button start. And then finally here we have the key fob. But next, let's go ahead and take this 2017 BMW 540i xDrive out on the road for a test drive. So starting the test drive in this 540i here. Have it in comfort mode now, and this thing is quick. I can just tell you that right now, barely giving it anything. About knocked myself out earlier with the camera, so I'm trying to adjust that back. I'm gonna put in a Sport Plus just because I want to. Give it a pull coming out of this corner here. Yeah, this thing is so quick. Love having the xDrive there. You just get that added feeling of traction with this all-wheel drive system. And I'm gonna be able to give it a nice pull getting on the interstate here. Here we go. I mean, just freaking nasty quick. Let's put in the Eco Pro mode now. Turn on the cruise control if we can. So I mean, the pull there was crazy because these ride so well. Just having the longer wheelbase and all of that, but that inline six with the turbo is just wild. You get that twin scroll turbocharger that puts in so much work. So much fun to drive. And that's why they call these the ultimate driving machine, because it really is something that is luxurious, but just fast. Ride quality is fantastic. Wind noise, the insulation here is very good. Just a tad bit of road noise from these 19-inch wheels on these thinner tires. But for the most part, a very luxurious ride, and something that I can see getting 30 plus miles per gallon in if you're on the highway. But just such a treat to drive this car here, and BMW's just really come a long way in not only reliability but performance and fun and all of that. Even as they've added things to make the cars more safe, I feel like they're still some of the most fun cars to drive. So I want to give a big thanks to Chevrolet Buick GMC of Murfreesboro for allowing me to review this car today. I'll leave a link below in the description. If you're looking to find the best price on one of these closer to home, click on that second link down below. It takes just a minute to fill out your information, and I'll make sure the local dealers are fighting to get you the best price on this or whatever pre-owned vehicle you might be interested in. Now, driving here in the Eco Pro, I mean, a pretty good feel. honestly, if you just want to focus on your fuel economy and not necessarily the performance that this car gives you, this is a really great way to do that, because it still drives normally like you would accelerate just as you were driving anything else, but it kind of limits the overall power that this car really does have. So it just, you know, makes it easier to keep the MPGs as high as possible. But I think a really good experience here behind the wheel, and I mean just top to bottom. You have something that can be relatively fuel efficient if you want it to be. You have something that can be downright quick if you want it to be. And then the luxury aspect of it is you have something that looks fantastic, feels fantastic. You feel like $1 million driving this thing, even though, again, you can get this for under 22 grand. It's just a good overall car. The only thing I would recommend is, I don't have an extended warranty right now, but on something like this, I would highly recommend getting one, just because it would just make it so much easier to own something like this. So just in terms of making sure that the reliability stays up to par, and if not, if something fails, you're covered there and not having to pay $2,500 out of pocket, that's a good way to go there. Now, what I will say is the maintenance on these is not cheap, especially if you go through the dealer. So I try to get that figured out as well before buying one, because a lot of the times an oil change can set you back as much as a payment is on one of these. I'm gonna try the paddles out real quick. And this is Eco Pro. And still quick, still really quick. But I highly recommend this car if you know how to own it, if that makes sense. So keeping the insurance down and making sure the maintenance is kept up. I mean, just one of the best driving cars you can get. With all that being said, this will bring me to the end of my review of this 2017 BMW 540i xDrive.